Why do some people always win while others struggle their entire lives? Is it just luck, or is there something deeper at play? What if I told you the system you were born into was never designed for you to win? What if everything you were taught, how to work, how to live, how to think, was programmed to keep you in a cycle you never agreed to? This isn't a conspiracy. This is reality. And until you wake up to it, you will always be a pawn in a game controlled by those who know how it really works. By the end of this video, you will not only understand how the system is designed to keep you trapped, but you will also learn how to escape it. So stay until the end, because what you hear today might just change your life forever. From the moment you were born, the system was already shaping your destiny. They put you in school not to make you intelligent, but to make you obedient. You were never taught how to build wealth, how to think independently, or how to break free. Instead, you were conditioned to follow orders, get a job, and trade your time for money. Because that's exactly what the system needs from you. It's a machine. And like every machine, it has a purpose. Its purpose is not to make you successful. Its purpose is to make you useful to those who are already successful. But here's the secret they don't want you to know. You don't have to play by their rules. Look around. There are people who seem to have everything. They travel the world. They live without financial stress. They have power, freedom, and control over their own lives. And it's not because they're lucky. It's not because they worked harder than you. It's because they learned the truth early on. The truth is simple. The system is designed to control the majority while rewarding the few who understand how it works. The rich don't follow the same path as the average person. They don't waste time chasing degrees that don't teach financial independence. They don't sit in offices hoping for a promotion. They don't trade their time for a paycheck. Instead, they create systems that make money work for them. They control assets, they own businesses, they leverage networks, and most importantly, they never allow the system to control their time, money, or mindset. The system is a masterpiece of deception. It keeps you distracted, entertained, and comfortable just enough that you never stop to question it. You wake up, go to work, come home exhausted, and numb yourself with TV, social media, and entertainment. Meanwhile, the ones who understand how the game works are getting richer, stronger, and more powerful. Think about it. The wealth gap isn't closing, it's getting bigger. More people are struggling financially than ever before, and yet they still believe that working harder in a broken system will change their lives. It won't, because the system was never meant to make you free. Most people will never escape because they don't even realize they're trapped. They defend the system because they've been programmed to. They mock those who try to break free because it threatens their beliefs. And so they remain stuck year after year, believing that someday things will magically get better. But reality doesn't work like that. If you want to escape, you have to wake up. You have to unlearn everything they taught you about success, money, and freedom. You have to be willing to think differently, act differently, and take risks that most people are too afraid to take. The question is, are you ready to see the truth? Or will you keep playing a game designed for you to lose? Have you ever wondered why, no matter how hard you work, it feels like you're barely moving forward? Why does it seem like there's always something holding you back? The truth is, society has invisible chains wrapped around you, and most people never even realize they exist. These chains aren't physical. They don't lock you in a prison cell, but they are just as powerful because they control your mind, your actions, and ultimately, your destiny. From the moment you enter the system, you are conditioned to believe that security is the key to happiness. They tell you to get a stable job, save money, and avoid risk. They make you believe that stepping out of line is dangerous, that thinking differently is reckless, and that questioning the system is foolish. But what they don't tell you is that true security doesn't come from a paycheck. It comes from power, control, and freedom. And the system ensures you never have those things. They tell you that you live in a free world, that you can make your own choices, shape your own future, and build your own success. But is that really true? Think about it. How many choices do you actually make for yourself? Did you choose to spend years in school without learning anything about wealth? Did you choose to work 40 hours a week just to pay bills? Did you choose to trade your time for money while the rich multiply their wealth without lifting a finger? The reality is most people don't live life on their own terms. They live according to the system's rules. They follow the blueprint they were given. They wake up, go to work, pay taxes, and spend their free time consuming entertainment that keeps them distracted from the real game being played. They believe they are making choices, but in reality, they are simply following a script written for them by those who control the system. One of the most powerful lies society tells you is that hard work leads to success. If that were true, construction workers would be millionaires, factory workers would be driving sports cars, and janitors would be living in mansions. But they aren't, because success isn't about how hard you work. It's about how smart you play the game. The rich don't work harder than you. They work differently. They don't trade time for money. They trade value for wealth. They don't beg for promotions. They create their own opportunities. And most importantly, they don't rely on the system to take care of them. They build their own systems that make them unstoppable. Meanwhile, the average person is told to be patient, work hard, and wait for success to come. But success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who take it. It comes to those who understand the system and use it to their advantage instead of being used by it. If you want to escape the system, you have to start with your mind. You have to break free from the beliefs they forced onto you, beliefs that were never meant to empower you, but to control you. You have to unlearn the idea that stability is the key to success. You have to stop thinking like an employee and start thinking like an owner. You have to stop chasing comfort and start chasing power. Because here's the truth. The rich don't play the same game as you. They own the game, they make the rules. And if you keep playing by their rules, you will never win. The only way to escape is to stop thinking like the majority and start thinking like the minority, the elite, the powerful, the untouchable. The system was never designed to make you rich. It was designed to keep you controlled. From the moment you enter the education system, you are trained to be obedient, to follow instructions, and to accept life as it is handed to you. Schools don't teach financial independence. They teach compliance. They don't teach how to build wealth. They teach how to be a good worker. Why? Because the system doesn't need more leaders. It needs more followers. More people who will wake up, go to work, pay their taxes, and never ask why they aren't truly free. Look around you. The people who follow the traditional path, study hard, get a job, save money, where do they end up? Struggling to pay bills. Living paycheck to paycheck, worrying about retirement. And the worst part, they believe that this is just how life is supposed to be. They don't see that they were set up to fail before they even had a chance to succeed. The system wants you to be just comfortable enough to never question it, but never powerful enough to escape it. It gives you entertainment to distract you, debt to enslave you, and just enough money to keep you working for the rest of your life. Meanwhile, the wealthy operate by a completely different set of rules. They don't trade time for money. They understand that time is the most valuable asset, and instead of selling theirs, they learn how to buy more of it. They don't follow the financial advice given to the masses because they know it's designed to keep people poor. While the system tells the average person to save money, the rich invest. While the system encourages job security, the rich build income streams that don't rely on a paycheck. While the system preaches debt as a trap, the rich use it as leverage to multiply their wealth. The difference is knowledge. The elite understand how the game is played, while the majority blindly participate without ever realizing the rules were rigged against them. But here's the truth. Once you see the system for what it really is, you can never unsee it. Once you recognize that the game was never meant for you to win, you can start playing differently. You can start rewriting your own script instead of following the one you were given. Escaping the system, it doesn't start with money. It starts with a mindset shift. You have to stop thinking like the majority. Stop looking for security. Stop playing defense. Start understanding that money isn't the goal. Freedom is. The goal is to control your time, your choices, and your life. And that will never happen if you continue to play the game the way they designed it. One of the biggest traps keeping people stuck in the system is the illusion of security. The system sells you a dream. Study hard, get a good job, work for decades, and one day you'll retire comfortably. But look at the people who followed that path. Are they truly free? No. Most are still working jobs they hate, stuck in debt, and hoping that someday they'll have enough to enjoy life. But that someday never comes because the system isn't designed to give you freedom. It's designed to keep you chasing it. Think about it. If a job could make you rich, why aren't your parents, your teachers, or even your boss living the life of their dreams? Because a salary is a trap. It keeps you dependent. It gives you just enough to survive, but never enough to escape. And the worst part, the more you earn, the more they take. Taxes, inflation, bills, they all increase as you make more, keeping you running in place. The system keeps you busy, tired, and distracted, so you never have time to question if there's a better way. Meanwhile, the rich, don't trade time for money. They don't rely on a paycheck. They build assets that pay them while they sleep. They create systems, invest in businesses, and use other people's money to multiply their wealth. They understand that working harder won't make you rich. Working smarter will. And that starts by rejecting the idea that a job will ever give you the freedom you want. But breaking free isn't easy. The moment you try to escape the system, it will push back. People will tell you to be realistic. They'll say you're taking too many risks. Why? Because they are trapped and they don't want to see you break free while they stay stuck. The system conditions people to fear failure, to avoid risk, and to seek comfort. But comfort is where dreams go to die. If you want to escape, you need to change the way you think about money. Stop seeing it as something you earn. Start seeing it as something you build. Start focusing on assets, not paychecks. Stop waiting for permission. Stop looking for guarantees and start creating your own opportunities. Because the truth is, no one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you freedom. You have to take it. The first step to escaping the system is understanding that your mind has been programmed to think like a worker, not a winner. From a young age, you were taught to follow rules, obey authority, and fit into a system that rewards compliance, not creativity. You were told that taking risks is dangerous, that failure is something to be ashamed of, and that success comes from playing it safe. But look around. Who are the ones truly winning? The ones who took risks, the ones who refused to follow the script. Success isn't about luck or intelligence. It's about mindset. The rich think differently. They see money as a tool, not a goal. They understand that wealth isn't about how much you earn, but how much you keep and how you make it grow. They don't waste time chasing paychecks. They focus on creating value. And most importantly, they aren't afraid to fail. They know failure is part of the process. Each mistake is a lesson. Each setback is a stepping stone. But most people are too afraid to fail, so they never even start. They wait for the perfect time, the right opportunity, or someone to give them permission. That time never comes. The system keeps you waiting, keeps you distracted, keeps you comfortable enough to never take real action. And before you know it, years pass and nothing changes. If you want to escape, you need to reprogram your mind. You need to start seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. You need to stop fearing failure and start embracing it as part of the journey. You need to stop looking for guarantees and start betting on yourself. Because the truth is, the only way to truly win is to take control. No one is going to hand you freedom. You have to fight for it. The rich don't just think differently, they act differently. Their habits, routines, and decisions are what set them apart. Most people wake up and let the day control them. They check their phones, scroll through social media, and waste hours reacting to distractions. The wealthy, they start their day with purpose. They focus on priorities, not entertainment. They know time is their most valuable asset, and they refuse to waste it. One of the biggest habits that separate winners from losers is discipline. The rich don't rely on motivation. They don't wait until they feel like it. They train themselves to do what needs to be done, whether they feel like it or not. That's the difference. Most people want success, but they aren't willing to put in the work. They dream about wealth, but keep making excuses. The wealthy, they commit. They stay consistent. They understand that discipline beats motivation every time. Another key habit, constant learning. The rich never stop growing. They read books, take courses, and surround themselves with people who challenge them. They invest in knowledge because they know that the more they learn, the more they earn. Meanwhile, the average person stops learning the moment they leave school. They think education is something you finish. The successful know education is never ending. But here's the biggest secret. The rich understand leverage. They don't trade time for money. They build systems that make money work for them. They invest in assets, not liabilities. They use other people's skills, money, and resources to multiply their results. The poor work harder. The rich work smarter. That's why no matter how much effort you put in, if you're only relying on your own time and energy, you'll always be limited. If you want to escape the system, you need to start adopting these habits. You need to wake up with purpose, take control of your time, and develop discipline. You need to commit to learning every single day. And most importantly, you need to start thinking in terms of leverage, because the moment you stop trading time for money, the moment you start building systems that work for you, that's when you truly start winning. The system is not designed to make you rich. It's designed to keep you trapped. From the moment you are born, you are conditioned to follow a script. Go to school, get good grades, find a stable job, and work until retirement. But here's the truth. That path was never meant to make you wealthy. It was meant to keep you obedient. It was meant to keep you playing by the rules, while the rich create the rules. The wealthy understand something most people don't. Money is not earned through hard work alone. It's earned through strategy. The average person works 40 to 60 hours a week, hoping for a raise or a promotion. Meanwhile, the rich are playing a completely different game. They don't work for money, they make money work for them. They own businesses, invest in assets, and leverage the efforts of others. They don't trade time for money, they trade ideas, ownership, and influence. This is where most people go wrong. They believe working harder will get them ahead, but the system is structured so that no matter how hard you work, you will always be limited. Your salary is capped, your time is limited, and your expenses are designed to keep you dependent on your paycheck. The system gives you just enough to survive, but never enough to escape. But once you understand the system, you can start to break free. You must shift your mindset from being a worker to being an owner. Instead of relying on one stream of income, you must create multiple. Instead of spending money on things that lose value, invest in things that grow your wealth. This is why the rich keep getting richer. They understand the power of ownership. They buy assets, stocks, real estate, businesses, while the average person buys liabilities. They don't chase money, they chase control. Escaping the system begins with one crucial step: changing the way you think about money. Most people are programmed to believe that making money is about working harder. But the truth is, the rich don't work harder than you. They think differently than you. They see money as a tool, not just a paycheck. They understand that wealth is not built through effort alone, but through leverage. Leverage is the secret weapon of the wealthy. They don't trade their time for money like the average person does. Instead, they find ways to multiply their efforts. They build businesses that generate income even when they sleep. They invest in assets that grow in value while they do nothing. They use other people's money to fund their ventures, turning borrowed capital into profit. They don't see money as something to earn. They see it as something to use. Meanwhile, the system teaches you to play it safe. Get a job, save money, avoid risks. But this mindset is designed to keep you in place. Think about it. How many people do you know who followed the traditional path and ended up financially free? The answer is almost none. Because saving money alone won't make you rich. Inflation eats away at your savings every year. Your job controls your income, and the moment you stop working, the money stops coming in. The rich escape this trap by focusing on building streams of income that don't require their time. They invest in businesses, stocks, and real estate. They create systems that generate cash flow. They understand that wealth isn't about working more, it's about owning more. Ownership is the difference between those who struggle and those who succeed. Now that you understand the power of leverage and ownership, the next step is learning how to break free from the system's biggest trap: dependency. Most people are completely dependent on a job for survival. Their income comes from one source, and if that source disappears, their entire life collapses. This is exactly how the system keeps you in place. It makes you fear uncertainty, so you stay in line. The wealthy think differently. They don't rely on one source of income. They build multiple streams of revenue that protect them from financial instability. If one source dries up, they have others that keep them afloat. This is why financial freedom isn't about how much money you have. It's about how much control you have over your income. Building multiple income streams doesn't mean working multiple jobs. That's what the system wants you to believe. The goal isn't to work more. The goal is to earn more while doing less. That's why the rich invest in assets that work for them. They put their money into businesses, stocks, real estate, and digital products that generate income without requiring constant effort. The biggest mistake people make is waiting until they have enough money to start investing. That's another lie the system feeds you. The truth is, you can start now. You don't need a fortune to begin building wealth. You need knowledge, strategy, and the willingness to take action. Small investments compound over time. A small business, a side hustle, an investment portfolio, it all adds up. The difference between the rich and the poor is that the rich take action before they feel ready. The system is designed to keep you waiting, hesitating, and doubting yourself. But real freedom starts when you stop waiting and start doing. In the next section, we'll break down the first steps you can take today to create your first independent income stream and take control of your financial future. Escaping the system requires a complete shift in how you see money, time, and value. The average person is programmed to trade time for money. Work a set number of hours, get a paycheck, repeat the cycle. But the truth is, time is far more valuable than money. The rich understand this. They don't sell their time. They buy other people's time and use it to create value. Think about it. A person working a job is limited. There are only so many hours in a day. And once those hours are gone, so is their ability to earn. That's why most people never break free. They believe working harder is the answer, but it's not. The real answer is working smarter. Leveraging skills, technology, and systems generate income without constantly trading hours for it. One of the biggest advantages the wealthy have is automation. They build systems that make money even when they're sleeping, a business that runs without them, an investment that grows over time, a digital product that sells while they focus on something else. This is how wealth is built, not through effort alone, but through strategy and automation. Most people never escape because they never break this cycle. They feel stuck, working harder and harder, but never getting ahead. The solution is to shift from being a worker to being a creator. Instead of asking, how can I make more money? Ask, how can I create something that generates money for me? That's the mindset that changes everything. You don't need $1 million to start. You just need a plan. The first step is identifying what you can create, automate, or invest in. Whether it's a side hustle, a scalable business, or an asset that appreciates in value, the key is making money work for you instead of constantly working for money. In the next section, we'll dive into practical strategies to help you take that first step and start breaking free from the system once and for all. The first step to escaping the system is understanding one simple truth. You are playing someone else's game. The system wasn't designed to make you rich. It was designed to keep you in a cycle of dependency, working just enough to survive, paying just enough taxes to sustain the structure, and consuming just enough to keep the wheels turning. The moment you realize this, everything changes. Most people live their lives following a script they never wrote. Go to school, get a job, work for decades, and retire, hoping they saved enough to survive old age. But have you ever questioned who benefits from this? Who really profits from the hours you trade away? The banks, the corporations, the government, they all win while you stay trapped. The system rewards those who control assets, not those who work for them. To break free, you have to stop thinking like a worker and start thinking like an owner. Ownership is the secret. The wealthy don't work for money. They make money work for them. They own businesses, properties, digital assets, and investments that generate income whether they wake up or not. This is the difference between financial slavery and financial freedom. But here's where most people get it wrong. They think escaping means quitting their job overnight or taking reckless risks. That's not the way out. The way out is strategy. It's about using the system's own rules to your advantage. Learn how money moves, how wealth is created, and how leverage works. The system may be rigged, but those who understand it can still win. The biggest obstacle holding most people back isn't the system itself, it's their mindset. The rich and powerful don't think like the average person. They don't see obstacles, they see opportunities. They don't wait for permission, they take action. If you want to escape, you have to reprogram the way you think. From a young age, you've been trained to follow orders. Sit still in school, do what you're told, don't question authority. That conditioning doesn't disappear when you become an adult. It follows you into your job, your finances, and your decisions. That's why most people never take risks. That's why they stay in their comfort zone, afraid to step outside the lines. The system relies on this fear. It keeps people trapped in an invisible cage. But the truth is, the only thing stopping you is your own belief system. The rich don't think about money the way poor people do. The poor believe money is something you work for. The rich understand money is something you control. If you trade your time for money, you will always be limited. But if you learn how to make money work for you, there is no limit to what you can achieve. So how do you break free? It starts with questioning everything you were taught about success. Do you really need a degree to be successful? Do you really need to work 40 years just to retire? Or is there another way? The moment you stop accepting what you've been told and start thinking independently, you gain power. You become dangerous to the system because you no longer play by its rules. Escaping the system isn't just about making more money. It's about understanding how the game is played. The wealthy don't follow the rules that are taught to the masses. They don't rely on a paycheck, and they don't trade time for money. Instead, they leverage assets, networks, and strategies that multiply their wealth while others stay stuck in a cycle of survival. One of the biggest secrets is ownership. The rich don't just work for money. They own things that generate money. Businesses, investments, real estate, intellectual property. These are the real keys to freedom. The average person spends their life working for someone else, building another person's dream. Meanwhile, the wealthy position themselves as owners, not workers. They create systems where their money and resources work for them, even when they're asleep. Another strategy the rich use is controlling their environment. They surround themselves with like-minded people, winners, strategists, and visionaries. The conversations they have are different. While the average person talks about problems, the wealthy discuss solutions. While most complain about their job, the rich look for ways to create income streams. Your network determines your net worth, and if you're surrounded by people who think small, you will never think big. But perhaps the most powerful strategy of all is mastering risk. Most people fear losing money, so they never take action. The rich understand that risk is necessary for growth. They don't gamble blindly. They take calculated risks, learning from failures and adjusting their strategies. Every major success story is built on risk. Those who never step outside their comfort zone remain trapped in mediocrity. If you want to escape the system, you have to think differently, act differently, and surround yourself with winners. In the next section, we'll break down the mindset shifts that separate the wealthy from the rest. These are the principles that, once applied, will change your financial future forever. Stay tuned, because this is where real transformation begins. Escaping the system requires a complete shift in mindset. Most people are trained to think like employees, not owners. From a young age, society conditions you to believe that security comes from a stable job, a fixed salary, and a retirement plan. But this way of thinking keeps you trapped. It keeps you dependent. It keeps you playing by rules that were never designed for you to win. The wealthy, on the other hand, see the world differently. They don't seek security. They seek control. They understand that freedom isn't about having a job. It's about having choices. While most people fear uncertainty, the rich embrace it. They know that the greatest opportunities exist where most people are too afraid to go. Instead of avoiding risk, they learn how to manage it. Instead of settling for comfort, they push for growth. One of the biggest mindset shifts is understanding that time is more valuable than money. The average person trades their time for a paycheck, believing that hard work alone will make them successful. But the wealthy don't work harder, they work smarter. They focus on building systems that generate income without requiring their constant effort. They invest in assets that grow over time rather than relying on a paycheck that disappears the moment they stop working. Another key difference is how they handle failure. Most people see failure as something to avoid. They fear rejection, they fear loss, and they fear what others will think. But successful people see failure as a stepping stone. Every setback is a lesson. Every mistake is feedback. The most successful people in the world have failed more times than the average person has even tried. They understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the process. If you want to escape the system, you need to stop thinking like the masses. You need to rewire your mind, unlearn everything that keeps you trapped, and start seeing the world the way the rich do. In the next section, we'll dive deep into the specific habits that the wealthy use daily. Habits that give them an unfair advantage over everyone else. If you apply these principles, your life will never be the same. Stay tuned. To break free from the system, you must first understand the power of discipline. The rich don't rely on motivation, they rely on habits. They don't wake up and hope to feel inspired. They build routines that push them forward no matter how they feel. This is where most people fail. They wait for the right moment to take action, but that moment never comes. Success isn't about how you feel. It's about what you do consistently. One of the most powerful habits of the wealthy is setting clear goals. Most people drift through life without a plan, reacting to whatever happens instead of creating their own path. But the rich operate with precision. They know exactly what they want, why they want it, and how they'll get it. They write down their goals, visualize success, and take deliberate action every single day. Another key habit is controlling your environment. You become what you surround yourself with. If you spend your time with people who complain, make excuses, and settle for less, you will become just like them. But if you surround yourself with ambitious, disciplined, and successful people, you will absorb their mindset. The rich carefully choose who they spend time with, what information they consume, and where they focus their energy. They eliminate negativity, distractions, and anything that slows them down. Discipline also extends to how they manage money. While most people spend whatever they earn, the rich use money as a tool. They invest in skills, build income streams, and put their money to work. They don't chase quick wins or fall for get-rich-quick schemes. They understand that real wealth is built through patience, strategy, and long-term thinking. If you want to escape the system, you must develop these habits. Success isn't about luck. It's not about talent. It's about doing the right things over and over again until results become inevitable. In the next section, we'll explore how the rich create opportunities that others don't even see and how you can do the same. Stay focused. Opportunities are everywhere, but most people don't see them. Why? Because they're programmed to think small. The system teaches you to follow a straight path. Go to school, get a job, work for decades, and retire. But the rich don't play by those rules. They don't wait for permission. They don't ask if it's possible. They create their own reality. The first step to spotting opportunities is changing your mindset. Instead of saying, I can't do that, start asking, how can I do that? The difference is massive. The first mindset keeps you stuck. The second forces your brain to find solutions. The rich don't accept limitation. They believe that every problem has an answer and they train themselves to find it. Another key factor is action. Most people spend their time overthinking, doubting, and waiting for the perfect moment. But the rich know that the perfect moment never comes. They take action before they feel ready. They try, they fail, they learn, and they adjust. Every failure is a lesson. Every setback is a step forward. The people who win in life are the ones who take the most shots. Opportunities also come from exposure. If you only know what you've been taught, you'll never see beyond it. The rich constantly expand their knowledge. They read, they network, they seek out new experiences, they put themselves in environments where opportunities naturally appear. They surround themselves with people who think bigger, move faster, and achieve more. Here's the truth. Opportunities don't come to those who wait. They come to those who are prepared. If you want to escape the system, you have to train your mind to see possibilities where others see obstacles. You have to act when others hesitate. In the next section, we'll break down how to build multiple income streams so you're never trapped in a single source of money. Stay sharp.